In this video, we're going to cover the anterior muscles of the neck and shoulder. Just know I'm not really going in order based on your terms list. I'm going to try to follow that as much as possible, but just note that some of these are going to be a little bit out of order. This model is just easier to cover as an anterior and posterior. And then I am going to cover some muscles of the pectoral girdle as well. And so again, it's going to seem like I'm kind of going all over the place, but when you're looking at the model, it's actually easier to learn it this way. So the first muscle we're going to learn for the anterior portion of your neck and shoulders is going to be the platysma. It's this blanket-like structure or muscle that sits right here. It sits right over your clavicle. You can see exactly where the clavicle is and where the start of the scapula starts. So it's a blanket muscle. It's the most superficial muscle in your neck, and it's going to cover the muscles like the sternocleidomastoid, which we'll cover here in just a moment. Another muscle you can see, and this one we'll really delve into when we cover the appendages, specifically the rotator cuff, is the deltoid. This muscle is incredibly important, especially for our nursing majors. That's where you'll give a lot of your injections to, is in that deltoid muscle. You can see this on the rotator cuff model, which we'll show you in the second week of muscles, but you can see it on this model too. A couple other muscles that are important to note, we have pectoralis major, and we have one over here as well. So when we talk about working out and working on our pecs and trying to improve those, that's going to be in the pectoral region. And so these are the muscles that people are referring to when they say they want to work out their pecs. There's a major being that it's the bigger of the two pairs of muscles, but then if we take this muscle off, this pec major off, you can actually see pec minor as it attaches to the shoulder blade, to the scapula. So that's pec minor. So the sternocleidomastoid, it's one of a TA's favorite muscles, and it's because it's named just so perfectly well. We talked about the mastoid process in the skull during skeletal week, but from there we have the mastoid part of the muscle, so the sternocleidomastoid, meaning it's going to connect to the mastoid process. Now the other two structures that it's going to connect to, you may have guessed it from the name, sternocleidomastoid, we have a muscle head, or end, excuse me, that's going to attach to the sternum, and then an end that's going to attach to the clavicle. So sternocleidomastoid is going to refer to this muscle right here. Some other muscles you can see, and we'll emphasize this during week 2, but this is a great close-up and a great model you can see, are the internal and external intercostals. And so your external intercostals are going to make a V shape. And so inter means between, costals, between what? The costal cartilage, the vertebrae, and then external, internal means more superficial or more deep. So the external intercostals, these are the ones that are going to point inward, and they're going to make a V shape. They're going to make a V shape like this on the side and a V shape like this on that side. So those will be your external intercostals. But then the ones that point upward, that point this direction, and then that point this direction on the side, those are your internal intercostals. So I just wanted to know, even though we'll go over other models that you can see them on, you can also see them very distinctly on this model. The last one we'll cover for this particular model will be this one right here, is the trapezius. It's a posterior model, or posterior muscle you can see on the model, but it is in the back. And then the last one is your subclavius. It's going to be literally sub meaning below, and then referring specifically to the clavicle bone, which is this bone right here. That is going to be your subclavius.